A pleasant good morning once again, everyone. I trust that you are all well. It's Monday and you should be in good spirits, right? It's a brand new day, it's a new week. Mondays are my favorite. I try to make the most of every day, but there's something for me about a Monday that just says new opportunity to get started, new opportunity to right the things that are wrong. I usually start Monday arm with my long to-do list of things that I plan to accomplish and conquer that week. I won't lie to you, some of them don't ever happen, but I start off that way nonetheless, confident that great things are going to happen. One of the things I encourage you to do that I always do is look for some inspiration to start your morning, start your day, or even start your week, whatever that is for you. My inspiration today is this little yellow flower right behind me. I think it's a Mayflower. I can't be sure. I don't know the name of flowers. But this morning on my exercise route, I saw all these beautiful trees just blooming. And I had to pick a piece. I said, I want this with me throughout the day. So I could recreate that scene because it was so amazing. So find that inspiration wherever it is around you. If you're not into flowers, maybe it's something else you're into, but find inspiration and something to remind you throughout the day when your energy starts to, dwindle, that brighter days and times are ahead because I believe they are. So I trust that you have been well. I don't have a prepared slide this morning. I made some notes that I want to talk to you about. I want to share with you this morning as I won't say conclude our journey, because I hope that we can keep in touch. I hope we can keep encouraging each other and sharing with each other. I would also love to hear from some of you how your journey is going. What are the highlights for you? What are some of the things you've been able to accomplish because you have chosen to live consciously? You have taken charge of your day and of your life, and you've made that conscious decision that you will make a difference. You will make a difference in your day. You will not continue to live as if though you did not have a purpose and a meaning in your life. All right. So when we talk about wellness, when we talk about this journey, there are several aspects of wellness that I want to touch on each this morning a little and make sure you're striking that balance when it comes to wellness. You're not just dealing with one area and focusing on that and you're letting the ball go in the other areas. It's important that we do that we focus a little on all areas of wellness so that there is a balance. And so when we talk about wellness, we talk about the emotional aspect of wellness. We also talk about the physical, we talk about the spiritual, and then we talk about the mental wellness. And incidentally, May is being celebrated as Mental Health Month. And I think it's fitting that today we talk a little about mental health because mental health is taboo. It's a subject that we don't talk about. And so we want to talk a little bit about mental health today, right? Emotional, physical, spiritual, mental. Those are the four areas that we'll touch on this morning in our discussion. And as we go along, please use the chat. Raise your hand if you want to contribute something, since we're a little more comfortable with each other, since we've been working together over this past week. Raise your hand if you want to share, and then you will be able to unmute your mic and do so. So let's start with the emotional. The emotional. We're familiar with the term emotional baggage, right? Emotional baggage. Now, what is emotional baggage? We know baggage hold us down. We talked about that the last time. But are we aware of exactly what those baggage are? Before COVID, I remember attending this women's seminar, and there was this really empowering activity. There was at least 100 women in that seminar. And the facilitator did an exercise that blew my mind, and I still remember it today. We were talking about negative self-talk and the things we tell ourselves, right? And she had us do an exercise where we got a little piece of paper and we were supposed to write down things that one thing that you tell yourself, one thing that you constantly you're telling yourself, but it's a lie. It's not true. It's more to cope. So you're telling yourself a lie. And we were comfortable in doing this exercise because what we did after you wrote down your whatever it was you were telling yourself on that piece of paper, you folded it and you passed it. And you passed that paper and passed that paper until nobody knew whose paper they had, right? The papers were all over the room, right? And that gives you a level of comfort because nobody is looking at you and judging you, right? And so people just wrote from their hearts. And it was so awakening to see that in that room where there were women who we would say, they're accomplished. They seem to, have it together. And the things that came out of that room, like the negative self-talk, the lies that we tell ourselves. For me, I clearly remember what I wrote on my paper. I wrote that I'm okay. And that's something I constantly would tell myself, that I'm okay or that it's okay when it wasn't, right? And I had to learn that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay, that nobody had it all together. And that people really and truly, those around you, were not expecting you to always be a pillar of strength. That was not the expectation. That was a lie. That's what we felt, that the people around us wanted to see us always strong, right? And there are those who believe that you're strong and you should always be strong, because whenever you say you're not feeling well or you're down, they say, not you, man, it can be somebody else, but not you. I don't know if you get that at all from those around you, but it's okay to not be okay. So are you telling yourself that you're okay when you're not okay? Or what else are you telling yourself? Because it's okay to not be okay. Sometimes people let us down. There are disappointments that come our way. And then we say, it's okay. But deep down, there are things that we want to scream. We want to say, no, it's not okay. You promised me, right? So there's a part of you that want to speak out, that want to say, but the inside talk is different from what comes out. What comes out is, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But what happened is you're suppressing how you really feel. You're not okay with it. You said that to not cause a fuss. You said that to be the strong one instead of expressing how you really feel, right? And that's emotional well-being. Because if we continue to say we're okay instead of expressing ourselves, what is going to happen? What is going to happen is that we start taking on that, and it stays inside and it stays inside. And one of these days we are going to explode, and in the wrong way, and maybe with the wrong people who don't even deserve. Many times when I watch people explode, when I become aware of a situation, and I look at what they exploded about, I often think to myself, that didn't call for such a reaction, did it? And it didn't. But what happened there? We like to say it's a straw that broke the camel back, or some other phrase that we use. I don't know what you use. You could drop it in the chat. But it wasn't that incident at all. It's a period, an extended period of carrying this emotional weight, of not expressing ourselves, of not speaking up when we were supposed to, of saying it's okay when it really was not okay. So start expressing yourselves. Start finding ways to say how you really feel, not in a negative, hostile way, but sitting down and thinking about what you're going to say and then saying it. You know what? No, it's not okay. We had plans. You had agreed to. And speak about how you feel. This makes me feel uncomfortable. This makes me feel like you don't value my company, or you don't value my input. You don't value my contribute, whatever. Speak. Is there anybody beside me who struggle with expressing how you feel to others and who just prefer to say it's okay? Tell me I am not alone in this room of powerful women. Let me see by a show of hands if this describes you. If you just rather say, I'm okay, or it's okay, rather than speaking up and speaking out. It's difficult. It's difficult. Some people say, well, I do that to make peace. I'm a peacemaker. So the other person is at peace, and where are you? Where are you? You're not at peace because you are, inside, you are stuffing all these emotions. And that's not emotional health. That's not emotional health. And so we want to get rid of that. The next thing we want to get rid of is the negative self talk. The negative self talk. What is a negative self talk, right? It's that feeling, or, telling ourselves that we are never enough. We're not smart enough. Go ahead, drop it in the chat. You know all the enoughs, right? Yes, it's difficult to express yourself, right? It's always is difficult to express yourself. You know, as women, maybe I think it's a part of our nature that sometimes we are just nurturing. We are caregivers by nature. And sometimes instead of saying something that we feel might hurt somebody's feeling, we say nothing. And we must learn to express ourselves. Not confrontation. I do not recommend confrontation. It's not going to get you anywhere. They say a soft answer turns away wrath. Find the right time, find the right atmosphere, in the right mood. Doesn't have to be right away, but let's practice doing it. In the evening, maybe it's your spouse or your children, maybe it's a friend, a co-worker. And so, when it's calm, you've not in the heat of the moment, you just take a few minutes and you say, I want to talk to you about something. Do you have the time? And they would say yes, and then you carefully choose your words. Add a little drip of honey in it if you need to. If it's a loved one, babe, I don't know about you, but I don't like when, say something and it's soft, Uh, Find, drop your tone. If you're somebody who's loud like me, pick a nice tone. If you have to touch the person or hold their hands while you're speaking, if it's a loved one or a child, do that. But find a way, and let's start breaking that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And little by little, you will find that you are able to speak your mind. Because sometimes we go and we tell somebody else, this is what's going on, and I'm a one teller. I wish I could have tell them what up on my mind. Tell them, but not in the way you're expressing it to your friend or your colleague, in a way that will seek to strike that balance, that peace. You will feel better about yourself, and so will the other person, right? Negative self-talk, right? What do we tell ourselves? We're not pretty enough. What else enough? Because there's never enough. We're not smart enough. We're not wealthy enough. Some of us not short enough, not tall enough. Enough, 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 enough. Enough of it. Enough of it. Let's get rid of those negative self-talk. You are enough. And I want you to tell yourself right now, I don't care if you're in the office and people will look at you, or you're on the bus traveling, or you're driving, but I want you to say out loud right where you are right now, I am enough. I am enough, right? If there's a coworker beside you, just say, I am enough. Hey, Candice, I am enough. And we must believe this. And when you believe you are enough, it gives you a renewed sense of empowerment, where you are able to say, I am enough. And so the things we tolerate are less, because you realize, wait, I'm enough. I am enough. I'm smart enough. I'm good enough. I'm whatever enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. And that's an empowering phrase. And so every day you tell yourself that I am enough. I have what it takes. You know, sometimes we back off big things that we could be doing in our lives because we feel we're not enough. We're not enough. We don't have what it takes. You have what it takes. You have what it takes, but you must believe that. We can't expect people to believe in us if we don't believe in ourselves. And so you have what it takes. I'm telling you, you have what it takes. You are enough. And so if you're preparing for an interview or something, whatever you're doing, and you're getting ready, you're getting dressed in the morning, and you know it's going to be a hard day or whatever you're encountering, you stand there in front of that mirror and you say, I have what it takes. I am enough. So you replace the negative self-talk with positive affirmations. And that is how you get rid of those negative self-talk. And what you tell yourself is what you're going to believe. What you tell yourself. So stop telling ourselves these negative lies, because that's what they are. Some other negative self-talk that we use, we blame, right? We blame. Why is blaming not a positive attribute? When we blame others, what we do is that we absolve ourselves. We remove ourselves from any form of responsibility for our actions. And it does not empower us to take affirmative action. So don't stop the blame. Okay, this happened. The situation did not turn out right. It's probably, not entirely my fault, but I'm not going to stand here and blame the universe, blame my parents for bringing me up in the wrong environment, blame them for not having enough money. I'm not going to do any of that. I am going to stop the blaming, and I'm going to take charge of my life. Okay, this is where I am. You see, what it does is it gives you a sober reality check when you stop blaming. Okay, let's, for example, say you applied for the job and you didn't get the job. Somebody else got the job. So we blame the company, we blame you sit down and you look at it and you say, okay, no blame here. I did my best. I gave it my best shot. What else can I do to prepare next time? Because it's going to happen. So blame is not something that you do. Trying to be perfect, that's another negative attribute. There are no perfect people, right? Perfectionism is for God. That's God's job, to be perfect, right? Save that for when we get to heaven, right? Everything is perfect there. So perfectionism, stop trying to be perfect, to get everything right, right? It's going to drive you and those around you crazy. Let go of that. Let go of all the control that we have, right? We love, how many of you, like me, we love to control people, right? I want it that way. Our poor kids, I tell you, they are living in miserable because we want to control. We want them to walk the straight and narrow. We want them to do what we want them to do. How many of you know we can't change people? You cannot change anybody. If you realize how hard it is for you to change yourself, then you will note and realize how difficult it is to change somebody else. If change is hard for you, what makes us think it's easy for somebody else? It's not going to be easy for anybody, right? So let's stop changing people. We have to stop trying to control and change people, right? Taking responsibility is one of the hardest thing at times. Yes, it is, but it's the only way for us to achieve more. You know, people who are constantly blaming others, who have this negative mindset and they blame the world and their wife, they tend to be achieving less because they have a mindset that says it's a fixed mindset, and it means that they think that everything depends on others. Their success depends on others. And so they are not empowered to take charge of their own lives and understand that while, yes, the system is a mess, that fairness is not really something you will find in organizations. And I don't think life was ever fair. I'm looking on the Bible and I'm like, where is it? It's not fair. There's nowhere in there that says it's like this life, it's going to be fair. But when you understand this, it helps you to start creating your own path. And you say, okay, so it's not fair. The playing field is not balanced, but guess what? I am going to make my own path. If I have to start my own Picado road, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to make it. And I'm not going to be worried about the unfairness and the injustice. I'll do what I can do, right? I'll do what I can do. All right, I'm just reading the comments. I think the people who does the negative talk is because they don't want to feel the disappointment at the end. Yes, when we get excited expecting good results and then we feel, yeah, it causes low self-esteem, and it, you know, these are all feelings that we experience. You know, we will feel bad sometimes, you know, we will feel let down. A lot of times we feel let down. The secret is how quickly you are able to bounce back from those setbacks and disappointments, and how you feel after. If you harbor the grievance and the negative emotions, even when you say you get over it, you don't get over it, right? You forgive, but you don't forget. And so you are there still holding on when you say you've not hold on. So the secret is to rebound, right? Don't watch people, you know, who fall. Watch how they get up, right? Watch how they get up. And so we encourage you to just get up. You fall, you sit down there, you think about this fall, you say, man, this is a tough fall, but I'm getting up. I'm getting up. Don't stay down. So it's not how many times you fall, right? It's getting up, it's rebounding, it's that resilience. And those are attributes that we need to develop. We need to develop. And the only way we're going to do that is to tell ourselves, I'm going to get up. And when I get up, I'm going to be stronger than ever. Right? Sometimes people put up quotes and I look at it and I say, yeah, it won't happen. But those quotes are positive affirmations for them, right? They would say, oh, throw me to the wolves, and when I come back, I'll be the leader of the pack. And I was like, mm-hmm. But for them, that means something, right? It means that it doesn't matter what you do to me, or where you send me, I'm going to come back better. And those are the kinds of positive affirmations that we need in our daily, every day. Every day we need to be positively affirming. It's what we put in. It's what we put in is what's going to come out. And so people who are able to remain positive is because they put in positive affirmations. They're constantly looking for positive people around them. They're looking for positive things to do, because it's what you surround yourself with that's going to determine what is your output, what happens to you, right? The last one, when it comes to, and we have a long list here, and I'll share them with you in the group chat, being a slave to your fear, right? Fear. How many of you fear stepping out of your comfort zone? You could raise your hand, right? There's that fear. There's just fear, and your fears are endless. It's endless. You fear making the next move. You fear what people will say. You fear, fear, fear. Fear is a part of your life, a part of your day. You are afraid. You're constantly living in fear. Let go of that fear. You will be amazed to see what is on the other side of fear. And how do you get rid of that fear? Again, positive mindset. You tell yourself, I'm going to do it. And you start small. And then you say, see, I do it. It wasn't so bad after all. And then you, all right, I'm getting the hang of this. We can do this, guys. We can do this. We can do this, right? Need to move on because we're still at emotional, and we've not touched on the others as yet, and all of them are really, really important if we're going to find that balance. Forgiveness, still on emotional, and I have to touch on this. Forgiveness. Are you able to forgive others easily? Are you able to go deeper and forgive yourself? And that's a tough one. If you are not able to forgive others for the things they've done to you, you hold those inside, and it wreaks havoc on your emotions. I'm working with a friend of mine. He is a mess. And the reason he's a mess, and I can say this because I'm not calling him name, I recognize him to be one of the nicest person I know. And that is why my passion is to work with him. But I'll tell you an adult and some of the habits he's picked up. And when I look at all these habits and I evaluate who this person truly is deep down, I recognize that all these bad negative habits that are keeping him back from making progress in his life stem from one thing. He is still not, at almost 40, able to forgive his father from childhood. He cannot forgive his father. And it has caused him immense pain. It has caused him failure in his relationships. He has some vices that are not, worthy of mentioning. And I am able to look at all of this and I say, your problem stems from forgiveness. You have to go all the way back to your childhood. You have to go all the way back there. Your father is dead and gone, and you have not forgiven him. He is resting, and you are still here living in torment because you have not forgiven your father. And so unforgiveness eats at our very soul and core. And while it's hard to forgive, it's also very empowering, because forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The weak cannot forgive. If you cannot forgive, it's a sign of weakness. Only strong people can forgive. And so we must find it in our hearts to forgive. And when we're done forgiving others, turn around and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for some of the poor choices you make, for some of the things you beat up yourself over. Just forgive yourselves. Forgive yourselves. I personally know the beauty of forgiving myself because I found it easy to forgive people. It's okay, I'm not, but I realized I was not doing the second part. I wasn't forgiving myself. I was beating up myself for poor choices. I'm not sure that I do that, and I'm not sure that I do that. And I was there for years holding on to unforgiveness, upset with my own self, until I learned to let go of that weight and look at it and say, okay, you did the best you could do at that time. That was what you did with the knowledge that you had. That was the best you could do. So why are you beating up yourself? So forgive others. Forgive yourself. Many of us, we know the forgiveness of God, but we've not learned to yet forgive ourselves for things that God done forgive us for, forget about, roll it in the sea, and then we keep bringing it back out of the sea again. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. It's going to give you that peace of mind. Your emotional health will improve drastically, drastically. Drop your comments in the chat as we go along, and then we move from emotional health to your physical well-being. Your physical well-being. If you are like me, I've always struggled with diet and exercise. I am almost 200 pounds right now. I should not be this weight. I went to a weigh-in thingy, you know, they give you this comprehensive weigh-in. The place is called Better Me Believe. And when he ran the numbers, it wasn't even the weight that got to me, it was the health. Because he was looking at so many things, the whole issue with why the obesity was an issue, and the organs that were being impacted. And I was like, wow. For me, it was a huge wake-up call. That was in December. And I said to myself, you have to do better than this. You can't do better than this. But our lifestyle, whether we work from, we're tired. And some of us, we don't see the importance of getting up and get moving. We're tired, we're busy, the kids, the homework, etc., etc., etc. It's so important that we build in physical activity in our day. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Even the food we eat, right? Belize is so rich in abundance of fruits and veg and so many other things. Lara talks about intermittent fasting is the way to go, right? It's a struggle. It's a struggle for many of us. And so I've had to take control of that. And I've had to build that in my routine. And so now I am able to get up every morning and just go. I don't think about it. I don't say to myself, I'm tired. I don't have the time. I make the time. And so I want to encourage you, if you're not into that routine, I know many of you are, and I'm so proud of you, right? Start moving. Start with baby steps, right? You can walk. And then you can jog. And before you know it, you're running. It doesn't matter the age. It's just the idea of moving. It helps you, yes, right? Emotionally, physically. It all ties together in one basket of balance if you are going to continue. I remember a preacher saying that the reason why he invests in his physical health is because if he wants to be the best at what he's doing, he needs to be sure that he is well. And that makes a lot of sense, right? That you want to be around as long as you can to do the things that you love doing. And so don't let go of that opportunity, right? Marlena says she meditated and started stretching exercises, right? Whatever works for you, right? Whatever works for you. Let's make a commitment to start doing it. Let's make a commitment to start moving, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening. Make a commitment to yourself. It will feel so good that you will be, yeah, the food, right? I did fasting for some months last year, right? It cuts down the sugar, right? Cutting out things like the sugar and the flour and the things we know, because we've been hearing this forever, that it's not good for us. And yet we still continue down the road. So we want to cut those out, totally cut them out. Make a commitment to yourself that this is what you will do for your own well-being, because you want to be well. You want to be well. So let's add that as a part of our journey, right? Your physical fitness, and flood the chat group with your physical, this is what I'm doing, this is, where I'm at. And let's encourage each other so that if there are those who are not doing it, that we start doing it, right? We start doing it. We need to start moving. It doesn't matter the age. Start moving, your physical well-being. So we covered emotional, we covered physical. Let's take a few minutes to look at spiritual, Now, for many, spiritual might seem like, oh, okay, holy, holier than thou. And that's not what it means. Spiritual is recognizing that you are not in control. Spiritual is recognizing how little control you have of anything at all. You're not in control. You're not in control of the air you breathe. You're not in control of that, right? You're not in control. We're not in control of the environment, the weather. Think about the things you actually control. The truth is that list is almost zero. We are not in control, but we think we are. And when we start recognizing how little control we have of our lives, of our days, of the next minute, the next breath, we develop a sense of gratitude. And not only that, it leads us to start seeking out where this control comes from. I am unapologetic when I say that I believe in God, the creator of all things. And I encourage you to seek out for yourselves what that spiritual walk will be. Because if we continue to believe that we are in control, then we are really living in delusion. It is a beautiful thing to know that you can depend on somebody higher than you, that you don't have to take all these worries and cares, and each day you can start your day just saying, Lord, these are the things that troubles my soul today. Today is going to be a hard day. You know what it is to have somebody you could constantly talk to? Prayer works. It works, it works, it works. It's uplifting. I cannot even begin to explain to you. Whatever you believe in, start walking that spiritual walk. There's a big difference between, I know a lot of people are turned off by religion and in fighting, and people who go deep into the Bible say, well, religion encourage killing because in this, I was like, I don't even know any of that. I probably not reached a part in the Bible yet because I can't tell you I read the Bible from cover to cover, right? They have so many apps, the Bible in a year. And I was like, I download all of them. And I've not read the Bible in a year. But I know enough to know that I am not in control, that there is a higher being, and that I simply cannot take a breath without being grateful and thankful for the gift of life. And it makes a whole difference. There are people who say there is no God. And I say to them, I don't know why you believe that, but I can tell you that my life has changed for the better as a result of it. I am a kinder person, I am at peace, and I don't feel burdened by the cares of this world because I can recognize that I'm not in control. Right? Candy says prayers and songs, right? Your favorite worship songs. Yeah, the songs. Some morning I can't pray. I don't even know what to say. And I lie there and all I do is put on some worship. And then one of the most amazing things happened when I started to indulge in worship. When I started to get to know the Bible a little more, and then I'm listening to the worship songs, I said, this song is in the Bible, right? And a friend laughed at me, but I said, this song is in the Bible. But the truth is, most of these worship songs, they contain words straight out of the Bible, right? And so you don't need to be reading. You could be listening and you're still getting the word and you don't know it until you encounter that word. And then you are like, okay, it's indeed in the Bible, right? So I won't dwell on this issue too much, except to encourage you to come to a greater understanding of who you are and where you are right now and recognize that we are not in control. We have no control. Seek out the person who is in control. For me, that is God. You decide, right? And so, emotional, physical, spiritual, and finally, in the next few minutes that we have together, your mental health. As I said, May is mental health awareness. Take care of your mental health. And how can we do this? You could go ahead and drop in the chat. How can we take care of our mental health? We talked about signs of stress. Know your signs of stress. Know when you're feeling stressed. Know what to do when you're feeling stressed. Mental health is no joke. One of the things I also observe is that people who are mentally ill, their life is hard. Their life is hard. They are ignored. They are treated poorly. You don't want to get to the point where, you can prevent some of these things. You can prevent some of these things. So you're feeling stressed, take control of your life and of your day when it comes to the things you can do, right? Your emotional, your physical, your spiritual, all of these contribute to your mental health. And that's why I left this one for last, right? Again, let go of being a control freak and a perfectionist. Don't sweat the little things. Do not sweat the little things. Okay, the picture not straight. Let the picture not be straight, right? Don't be uptight and, just learn to relax. Learn to relax. That's not to say you're letting your standards go, but you're learning to relax and enjoy life a little more. Find those beauty and inspiration around you. Preserve your mental health. Don't get into an argument that's unnecessary and then you end up stressed and frazzled. Just let it go. Let it go, right? Do like the song, let it go, let it go. Just let it go. Your mental health is so, so important. It's to be preserved at all costs, right? If there are people in your life, relationships that are causing you strife, you need to decide now how you're going to deal with them. Are you going to just decide, I can't continue like this? It's costing me my mental health. Sometimes it's our jobs. I know some people who their work and they're stressed to the limit. Just the thought of going to work puts them as a nervous wreck. You want to take control of this. Don't let it continue to the point where it becomes chronic. I do not want that for you. Evaluate your mental state daily. One of the things that help is to just write. I cannot emphasize, not because I like writing, but because I know the benefits of it, right? Just write down how you're feeling, write down your thoughts, just write. And please talk to somebody. Talk to somebody how you feel. Yes, the affirmations, dwelling on depression and the worries. Yes, just let it go. Worry gets us nowhere, right? We say worry is like an old woman with bended head. She's carrying a load of feather that she thinks is lead, right? It's light, but she's worried. And so worry robs you of today's joy. And so why do we worry? Why do we worry? Let it go. Don't worry. If it's something you can do about it, do it. If you can't do anything about it, then just let it go. Just let it go. Build your network. We talked about that in the last session. Reach out to somebody and tell them how you're feeling. If you're feeling really overwhelmed, and cry if you need to cry. I share with you, I'm not afraid to cry. Sit down and I bawl my eye out because I'm feeling, this is how I'm feeling. And it's letting out those emotions. that will lead you to have a better mental health. Take your vitamins. You know, as much as it's so, I keep this, and I always have my Trias tonic, right? I don't run out of it ever because I know the importance of this. You want to be having something that, you know, works for your mind, anything, whatever works for you. Get it, get it, and just have that, and take it, take it. Prevention is better than cure. Take care of yourselves and you will be well. You are your greatest asset, and you can't change the world. You can't do the things you want to do if you are not well. So please promise me you're going to take care of yourself. And remember, none of us have it all together. None of us. Rest if you must, just don't quit. Just don't